Greetings of the day. I am Dr. Magdalene Peter, HOD, MBA, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. Today, in marketing management, I'm going to cover the topic product lifecycle. We shall be saying about the product lifecycle definition, the product lifecycle stages, and product lifecycle, some of the examples with real-time products. Now, what is product lifecycle? The product lifecycle is an indispensable tool for product planners and marketers in general. Marketing is all about identifying the need in the market and trying to satisfy that need, meeting the customers at the point of their needs. Now, how do you meet the customers or how do you satisfy the customers? It is by giving some kind of an offering. That offering could be a tangible product or a service or an event or an idea or an experience, whatever they need. Now, this product life cycle is based on just like the life process of all living things, beginning with birth and ending with death. Like human beings, products also have a limited life cycle and they pass through several stages in their life cycle. Now, this product during its life cycle has to go through many phases, which involves professional disciplines that they have to go through and also require skills, tools, and processes. The stages in the life cycle of a product, stage one is the introduction stage, where marketing encompasses all the activities from the concept to the creation of a customer. These stages, number one, the first stage is introduction. Stage two is the growth stage. Then comes the maturity stage and the decline stage. Like human beings, I told you, the products have a very limited life cycle. And in this limited period of time, they pass through different phases. The length of the cycle or the length of the phase of each of the growth phase, the introduction phase, maturity depends upon the rate of market acceptance of the particular product, the rate of technical change, the nature of the product, and the barriers of exit and entry. Sales volume and profit level, profit that is been earned by sales or through sales of a particular product will also differ at every stages of these product life cycle stages, and also unique problems and opportunities require special marketing strategy to be followed at each of the stages of the product life cycle. Now, we'll talk about the first stage. This is the graph which depicts the different levels of stages of a particular product, where on the one side we have the sales, the bottom side we have the timelines, and we have the four stages: the introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. Or during the decline stage, we shall be deciding about whether to reintroduce the product or to abandon the product. So introduction, growth, maturity, and decline, there comes the curve like that. Okay, so this first stage will look after the introduction stage. Introduction stage is a stage where the product is launched for the first time in the market. It is also called as the initial phase. In the first stage, the product is introduced in the market and acceptance of the product is obtained from the minds of the consumers. As the product is not known to all of the customers, you have to do extensive promotion in order to make the knowledge of the availability of your product to be known to the end consumers of your market. Okay, now this, as the product is not known, it will naturally take time for the customers to shift from the existing products that they are using. Therefore, in this stage, if you see, generally the sales volume and the profit margins will seem to be very low. Competition also is low and distribution is limited, and price is usually relatively high when compared to the other stages of the product. Heavy expenditure is incurred on advertising and promotional activities because you have to shift the customers from the product that they are already using to take up to use to your product. Therefore, this quick acceptance, this conversion has to happen, and to create this primary demand, you have to do extensive promotional and advertising opportunities. So this growth rate of sales is very slow. Costs are very high due to limited production and technological problems, and often high startup costs are incurred during this stage. So these is the characteristics of your introduction stage. So what can you do, or what is a strategy that you can follow or a company can adopt to while they introduce a product in order for the product to be successful at the introduction stage? What are the different strategies that they can follow, adopt? Is first is they can follow the money back guarantee. It could be offered in order to encourage people to try your product, and if they are not satisfied, the money is returned back to them. So this gives them the leverage, the confidence to go ahead and make that conversion from either existing product to the new product that you're offering. Or you can give some introductory offers in the form of attractive gifts in order to allure your customers. Or you can give attractive discount to dealers, the intermediaries, the channel partners, to who are the lending hand to make your product to reach to the end consumers. Or you can build into the USP of the product. That is, you can speak about extensively during your promotion campaigns about the unique features that your product is built into. So these is the stages, and these are the characteristics of introduction. Some of the examples, if you see, we have the products which are in the introduction stage. We have the smart glasses, we have the online healthcare, we have virtual reality, we have the flying cars. So these are the examples of the products which are in the introduction stage. Then we go to the next stage, the growth stage. Now, this is a stage where the product has gained acceptance in the market. The customers are so slowly converting themselves, discontinuing with the existence of the old product and started consuming your products, and the demand is growing up. And when the demand grows up, naturally your sales also grows rapidly along with the demand. And competition naturally will increase, because when your demand increases and your sales grows, naturally your competition increases and your prices fall, because as the law of demand says, more demand, the less could be the price. So the economies of scale occur as production and distribution are widened. You have to produce more of your product because demand is high and the distribution is also widened. Now here, the company attempts to improve the market share by using penetration tactic, where they try to enter into new markets and try to cover the whole of the market. So the promotion expenditure still remains high because of increasing competition, and also the company wants to penetrate into the nooks and corners of the market. Okay, and also to increase effective distribution. Profits are high on account of large-scale production and rapid sales turnover. So these are the characteristics of growth stage, where it occupies the mind space of your customer. Now the customer, I told you, are well aware about your product, and it's not only about awareness, they have accepted your product. Therefore, in their mind space, your product is positioned. So your segmentation, your targeting and position is in line as far as your growth stage is concerned. Your product gets noticed and there is apparent growth of your product, and the usage of your product grows day by day, and people are likely to become brand ambassadors of your product and naturally likely to recommend your product to other users. So during this growth stage, a company may follow strategies like new versions of the product may be introduced to satisfy the requirements of the different types of customers, because the total market is forayed into using penetration tactic. And then the brand image of the product is created, or it is instilled through wide range advertising and publicity. And the price of the product has to be very competitive in order for it to withstand in the market, sustain itself in the long run. So customer service also has to be enhanced, because at this growth stage where you have heavy demand and your sales also increases rapidly, you have to be ensured that your customer services are enhanced, and distribution channels has to be strengthened, because you have to make it very clear and ensure that products with the penetration technique that you penetrate into the nooks and corners of the market, you also should be able to understand and ensure that the product is also available in the nooks and corners of the market. So your distribution partners, your distribution channels has to be strengthened to make the product easily available wherever and whenever required. The next stage is growth examples. Some of the examples of the growth stage are the electric cars. We have the Internet of Things. Then we have the AirPods and organic foods. So these are the examples for the growth stage of the market. Then we have the maturity stage. Now, during this maturity, the third stage, this stage reaches saturation. That is, during this stage, prices and profits fall due to high competitive pressures. At one point of time, your product succumbs to competition, and therefore your prices falls. And if you are to decrease your price, naturally your profit will also fall. And this can be attributed to heavy competition in the market. The second characteristics is your product is well known, growth rate becomes stable and weak. And because the growth rate is stable for a long period of time, it is a stable growth rate that you have. Weak firms cannot withstand competition. So they are forced to leave the industry. Heavy expenditures incurred now to promote your in promotion activities and to create brand loyalty. So your firm is in a do or die situation where the organization has to take a decision of whether it is going to modify the product or to improve the product or to develop new uses for the product in order to attract new customers, in order to expand the sales. So in order to prolong the maturity stage, you have to follow some techniques. So some of the techniques that could be followed is number one is product differentiation. The product has to be differentiated from the rival products. So competition is heavy. So what is competition? Competition is anything that arises out of the actual or potential rival offering or any substitute product that the customer wishes to buy instead of your product. Therefore, this product differentiation from the rival products has to be ensured in order for the maturity stage to be prolonged. Then the brand image of the product has to be emphasized. Then lifetime or longer period warranty is offered. So you give a lifetime warranty or you give a longer period of warranty than usual in order to prolong the maturity stage of your product. Or here you have to decide whether your new markets have to be forayed or developed in order to sustain your product for a longer period of time in the market. So this is either you try to create new markets, or you try to create or show new uses of the product by developing a different variations in the product in order for the product to stay in the market for a longer period of time. Then reusable packaging also could be introduced in order to prolong the period of maturity of your product life cycle. So it reaches the maturity stage, it reaches the saturation. If the product is well known, people are fully aware of the product, and your brand name is established, and marginal utility trap is something which you have to look into. Should not fall into the trap of marginal utility during this maturity stage. Then some of the examples for maturity is the cable TV connection. We have the fuel, gasoline. Then we have the non-internet kitchen appliances and personal computers. Okay. The next final stage is your declining profits. Now, this decline stage is a stage which has been marked by declining profits. Market peaks and levels off during the saturation stage. Few new customers only buy your products, and the repeated order customers are completely disappeared. So in this stage, you don't get any new orders, you don't get any repeated orders also. Only few of the customers buy your product, and prices decline further due to stiff competition, and firms start fighting with each other for the market share. There's only little market share that is available, and all the firms are fighting with each other for retaining this market share or replacement sales. So sales and profits also inevitably fall because of no improvements in the product or reduction in costs. So the product gradually is displaced by some of the new products due to changes in the buyer behavior, and promotion expenditures also drastically reduced, because how much ever you start investing in the promotion expenditure, it is going to be total waste. So the decline may be slowed down because in case if the firm is able to introduce new uses of the product, or it has to face death. So in order to avoid sharp decline in sales, a firm could attempt to find out new features which may be added in the product. Packaging could be made more attractive for people to buy your product. Repeat purchase maybe, but new purchases cannot be happening at this stage. And then economy packs or models may be reduced in order to create a relative demand. And selective distribution channel partners or selective distribution mode can be adopted to reduce costs. So these are the characteristics of decline stage, where declining profits actually increases your marketing costs. Newer products better fits your marketing budget. So you have to make a decision, and you have to look for a fresh look and offer better features for a lesser price for the product to be refreshed in the market. So these are the distinct examples of decline, where you have the CD or DVD players, then you have the video cameras, the landline phones, then the waterfall model. So these are the examples of the decline stage, where today we saw about the product life cycle, where product life cycle is nothing but the same kind of life cycle which a human being goes through. So a human being enters the world and then grows, matures, then death comes. So the same kind of way, even for a product, the entry is there. Even before the introduction, there's something called as the concept, the idea generation. So the idea generation is the very first step, where idea about the product is generated, and the product life cycle is a series of steps through which every product goes through: the introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. Equally important. See, the life cycle of your product is something that you should take care about. Nobody is responsible for a successful life cycle of a product than the product manager. Equally important is nobody is more responsible also for a failed life cycle of a product than the product manager. So we have to be additionally careful in finding out the nuances that one needs to understand in functioning in the market. So the first stage that we saw is about the introduction, where the product life cycle introduction is where the magic begins. This is when you launch your product, you keep it simple, and while keeping it simple, we have to be very, very careful about every other cost that is involved in creating of this product. And in this initial phase, we are trying to get customers, and it will take time to build a loyal customer base. So during the introduction, there are various product lifecycle strategies that we have to follow, that was discussed earlier. Then we have the growth, where the product is starting to get noticed and people buy and use a product. The product usage is growing day by day. So whatever it takes to market this product, that has to be done in order to leverage the amount of demand that is available in the market. To now, then we have to think, the organization should start thinking from the premise of a consumer, and then grab the opportunity. When the opportunity presents itself, the companies has to rise to the opportunity. Then we saw about the maturity. Now the product has reached the maturity and is considered the best in class. People use it frequently, and it is an established brand name. So these are the features during the maturity stage. Now, a project manager should be aware of the competition at this stage, communicate effectively with the developers, and then tell them what is coming next. Next, you have to prepare your sales team, you have to prepare your marketing team, because the next is something inevitable, the decline stage. So you have to learn to communicate, especially to the newer ones, so that what happens, this maturity stage can be prolonged in the market. Then we have the decline stage. Now here, new and better products have started to enter the market. Therefore, you have to create a fresh look and offer better features for your product at a lesser price, or even do it free of cost, because you have to refresh it. So this refresh stage is also a new version. You have to bring about a new version of your existing product. So this is the product life cycle stage decline example. Now we'll go some failed product examples. So we have the Orkut, ahead of its time. It is a failed product. Then we have the Google Glasses, lack of a fashion sense. Then Google Plus, lack of focus. Facebook does one thing but does it right. And then we have the Amazon Fire Phone, again lack of focus. So then we'll see about no one size fits all. So before you get it right, you will always get it wrong. A lot of times we will get it wrong. So that is one lesson that people have to have in mind while dealing with product life cycles. And then look out for change. If anything changes, what is your communication? What is your marketing strategy? What is your feature strategy that you're going to consider is very, very important, and will take time to build a loyal customer base. That has to be sunk into our minds. Also, it is not a magic. A loyal customer base, creation of delighted customers who will stick on with you forever, is a concept which can happen over a period of time, and it cannot happen in a day. So these are the lessons that one has to learn. And then we have the Nokia's example, where the concept of product life cycle is discussed in this figure with Nokia. Now Nokia introduction as early as 1996, the first smartphone was made. Then at the growth stage, people were more than happy about the product. High investments happened and high growth it saw, and it already had a prototype for touch screen and internet enabled phone. It had a prototype during the growth stage itself. Then maturity, first in mobile industry, high profits but visible increase in competitors. And then bad management of company. Therefore, decline, fast decline due to competitors. So decline stage is one stage which will be usually prolonged, because it will usually characterized by competition, heavy competition. And the Nokia saw during the decline stage heavy competition, and technology advantage and bad management was there. So this is the Nokia's. Now this we see the iPod's releases, where you see the classic models, the mini models, nano models, shuffle models, and touch models. So this is the product life cycle of Apple iPod. Then we have the examples of the stages where we have in the introduction stage, we have the holographic projection. Here I've put some pictures for you to see. So this particular type of range of products is in the introduction stage. And then we have the growth stage. The tablets and PCs are at the growth stage. Then we have the maturity stage. The laptops are at the maturity stage. And then we have the decline stage, where we see the typewriters in the decline stage. No more it is there. So this is one example. Another classic example, other examples that we saw during the introduction is the flying cars, that we have been hearing about this for at least a decade now. The takeoff is already intended. And then we saw in the introduction the smart glasses. These were a craze when they were launched by Google and Snap, but people didn't really take to these. Maybe they're all waiting for Apple to launch something. And then we have online healthcare and online education. actually going to a hospital or a school, we preferred to go. But now with the current pandemic, the online options are bound to take off. Actually, we prepare to go in, we used to go in person, and the concept of a school was only in person and not at all a virtual concept. But during this pandemic has totally changed the scenario, where we see virtual schooling, virtual learning is taken off front stage. Then we have the VR headsets. These have been around for some years now, and now actually they're really taken up and used in very niche segments like gaming and research. And then we have the growth stage examples. We saw electric cars, the Internet of Things, the AirPods, the organic foods. And then maturity stage, we saw about the cable TV connection. If we have moved to a different city and rented a place, chances are that people don't look for a cable connection, but they take in Netflix, Amazon Prime, and all these things meet our needs. And then we have the kitchen, the personal computers. These personal computers are also at the board stage, because except in specific cases like financial companies, researchers, gaming communities, personal computers are actually out of their way. Now, in the decline, we saw about the CD, DVD players. It was the floppy disks that was used before. Now we use USB drives, but these two shall go away. And then mobile phones, totally landline phones have become obsolete, and mobile phones have taken over. Then we have keypad mobile phones or feature phones. Now smartphones had made these obsolete. So these are something examples of different stages. So today we will talk about Facebook, the product life cycle example of Facebook. Now, everyone has wide knowledge about Facebook, and everyone has got is a member of Facebook. Now, Facebook hit around 90 million users in the year 2007. In the year 2007, it had 90 million users, and it appeared that Facebook growth curve had flattened and would probably head into maturity and decline space. At this stage, Facebook woke up and it introduced P20Mbmc feature, which is people you may know. This really took things to different level. The important thing to note here is that Facebook was able to use a feature to extend its reach into its target audience. And separately, Facebook is also very good at buying the competition. It bought out all the competition. Facebook bought Instagram in 2012, and Facebook bought out WhatsApp in 2014, and it bought out Instagram and WhatsApp, so that all those users could be plugged into the Facebook ecosystem. So these decisions paid rich dividends to the product life cycle of Facebook, so much so that instead of considering the entire website as one product, it is now better to consider individual features as individual products. So, so when we start considering individual features as products, this gives us a better sense of where each product is in the product life cycle. So when we start thinking of it in this way, then it starts off as a small product, but then it has its own product life cycle. But when that product becomes large enough to be called an ecosystem, individual features become products in their own right. So effective and fruitful product life cycle management is the art that a product manager, a marketing manager has to develop over a period of time. So this is the assignment that I would like to give you. You have to go through the above product life cycle examples in detail, which I gave you, and take some of your favorite products and do your own product life cycle analysis. This will help you to imbibe in yourself the key concepts of product life cycle. Thank you so much.